If you want, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be a new edition of me recommending books based on your little prompts. So let me know in the comment section if you have any other ones so I can keep doing these more regularly. I think it's a fun way to just add some random recommendations or random list of books to avoid depending on what you're asking. And I still had quite a few from the last two videos, so let me go through them. A book you want a different author to write. Oh, I took the time to think about it and I think I'm happy with my choice. It's difficult. Like, I feel like it can be very, like a good idea that could have been better, which, wink wink, that's definitely a kind of video I'm working on at the moment. Hopefully I'll have a proper list and do that video soon. But I came to the conclusion that You by Carolyn Kepnes, imagine how good it would have been written by Gillian Flynn. Like, I know she tends to only write main female characters, but she could have switched Joe for whatever version. What would be the feminized version of Joe? Like a name. Anyway, Joanne, whatever. Imagine it, how good it would have been. I feel like we don't have enough, like, sapphic books that the female character is the villain. Like, don't tell me this isn't like the best idea ever. So yes, let me know in the comment section actually how you would answer that. But I feel like that's an answer I'm proud of. I would read the crap out of that book. Like, oh my gosh. Made you enjoy a trope you usually hate. I actually forgot to grab it. I've mentioned how romance isn't my main genre, although I have done a video about my favorite romances. But I wanted to add this one. It's a light, fun YA fantasy series. This is A Kiss of Deception. This is the Remnant Chronicles series. It has the trope of a love triangle. Major love triangle. We know the story. I feel like everyone has seen it on Booktube for years, but just in case, you're following this princess, and the day of her wedding, she escapes and two men go after her. The prince she was supposed to marry, an assassin sent to kill her, and you don't know who is who. And I like the love triangle throughout the whole trilogy, although it becomes more political intrigue and you know, just bigger fantasy world. It's not just a romance, but I really like it, and I'm still mad about how it ended. We can feel free to talk about it in the comment section. Definitely put spoilers beforehand, but I'm still mad. But I overall really enjoyed the series, and it has a love triangle. I feel like I usually always hate love triangles because it's always like main female character and her best friend, which no, and the guy that you know for sure she's gonna end up with. So like the love triangle is not believable whatsoever. So yeah, I did like that one. It's a book that successfully mixes two very different genre. Okay, but like, what constitutes two very different genre? Like what? Because like, if I'm trying to think like historical fiction and sci-fi, but then there's time traveling, so that's very common. So I decided to go with Becky Chambers as an author in general. And I've been talking about it, I know, but like, think YA contemporary, like maybe a little romance, LGBTQ plus representation, something that is wholesome coming of age, and sci-fi. That is the most different I could think of, and I feel like she as an author in general represents that, especially, actually I do own that book, where is it? The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. That's the best way I can describe her. I feel like that's definitely the combination of the most opposite-ish genres. But if you have specific genres that you want me to give you recommendation that have like mixes of, let me know. But yes, that's my answer. A book that you probably will never read. Oh, shit. I feel like War and Peace. Like, I have it on my shelves behind the couch. My classics are hidden there. It's a brick. It is scary, and I've heard good things about it. I watched a TV show, which was a mistake. I thought it would make me want to read the book, but I feel satisfied now, which is not good. So realistically, I feel like I might never read it. I thought I had grabbed all the books I wanted to talk about, and I keep finding questions that I didn't. So show me a book that made you feel empathy or sympathy towards the villain. The first thing that popped into my mind, Vengeful by V. Schwab. This is the second book in the Villains trilogy, because it's now a trilogy. I liked Vicious, unpopular opinion. I preferred Vengeful. Whenever I said that was so much better, everyone was disagreeing with me, so unpopular opinion apparently. But the book literally starts with Marcella, who is one of my favorite characters slash villains of all time. If you're not rooting for her, something is wrong with you. It literally starts with that. And I fell in love with her automatically. I refuse to see her as a villain. She is right. I am on her side. I was rooting for her, and I can't wait to see what happens with the rest of the trilogy, but my favorite female villain for sure. Like, usually I'll struggle to understand villains and be like, how did you get that way? But her, you get the explanation right away, and she was right. She was right. A should be a book that you would love rereading every year. Okay, I don't reread books very often. Like, ever since I started Booktube, I've only reread one book, and I read it twice in 1 year, and that was last year. I know I've been mentioning this book a lot, but I will continue to do that forever. To Be Thought If Fortunate by Becky Chambers. This isn't a wholesome one, because I always say that she writes wholesome books. Not this one. This is the exception. It's not depressing, although it has its moments, but there's just something special about this. I would reread, I mean, I already did reread it. So, and I would, again, it's super short too. It's not a lot of commitment. Kind of first contact with aliens. You're following this team, like 4 astronauts that are exploring different planets and moon in the search for life to try and find a planet for humanity. And it's great. Like, this is something that will keep you up at night thinking about, because that was another question that I got. It's amazing. I loved it. Clearly, I reread it. In the same year too. Had positive LGBTQ plus representation. Once again, literally every single one of her books contains some. Every single one of them. Like, all of them. Like, in this one, although they're not labeled, there is a trans man, there is a bisexual woman, a possibly lesbian, an asexual person. Like literally. And, like, it has nothing to do with the story, which is my favorite part. Like, if you just want representation that is just there, she's the best. She always has some, pretty much. Her newest book coming out next month contains a non-binary character too. Monk. Non-binary monk. So, Becky Chambers. Can you tell I love her? A book that makes you judge the author super hard, in a good way or a bad way. Oh, we're gonna go with the bad way. The Secret Commonwealth by Philip Pullman. I want to talk about this because I am still pissed. I read it, 2 years ago at this point? Is it 2 years or a year and a half? And I'm still really mad about it. It's a little bit spoilery, but not really. But feel free to just mute me for a couple seconds if you don't want to hear about it. In this case, the main female character, there's like an attempted rape scene that brought nothing to the story and is like not really mentioned afterwards. The female character is totally fine. And it's not something I expected from him. Like, I grew up reading his Dark Materials trilogy, loved it so much, reread it as an adult, loved it just as much, if not more. And when that happened in the book, I was just shocked. I had higher expectations for this author. I'm just so disappointed. Like, you would tell me that that wasn't written by him, I would believe you. No. Another one. Okay, this one is going to be more controversial. Karen Slaughter. Unpopular opinion, maybe. I find that her books they tend to have a lot of sexual violence towards the female characters. I should say sexual violence towards female characters. And I find her books super triggering. And frankly, I feel like it's almost fetishizing the violence, and I hate them. So I can't help but judge the author, because I mean, she's writing it. Not a fan. I accidentally, I had read Pretty Girls, and I told myself I wasn't going to read anything else by her, and I accidentally did it again because it was just I was looking for an audiobook, and my library had one for, available, great reviews, and I didn't click that it was the same author. Mistake. Like, her books are not bad, it's just the violence is just so gratuitous. Is that the word? How you pronounce it in English? It's too much for me. Way too much for me. A book that made you stay up at night thinking about life and existence. Okay, the author is problematic. He made some comments about the concentration camps in China. So for anyone that doesn't want to support him, I completely understand and agree, but that's a great example, the 3-body problem. Because I want to mention that because I want you, if you know any books that are similar like this, please leave them in the comment section. Because as sexist as this was, my mind is still blown. Like, I need science heavy books like this. It's a first contact with aliens and science heavy. But holy crap, the concepts are just so interesting. Show me a book that you love but couldn't recommend to someone. Okay. I feel like a lot of the books that I recommend, if they're not super popular, I tend to be super specific on like who would enjoy it. So I feel like I've definitely mentioned all of the books I could think of, but I try to go really far and think of one book that I haven't mentioned a ton on this channel. And my best answer would be The Last Policeman. It's a trilogy, and you're following, it's like pre-apocalyptic. Like the planet, there's an asteroid coming for us in 6 months. There's no avoiding it. It's happening. And you're following this policeman trying to solve a murder. Although it has been labeled as a suicide, he is convinced that it is a murder. And he's trying to investigate while everyone is going crazy because everyone's going to die in 6 months kind of thing. And the concept is just so interesting. I don't think that the whole trilogy, like the ending of the last book, I didn't really care for it. I definitely feel like overall it was kind of weak. But if you enjoy exploring these kind of concepts, I would recommend it, at least the first book. But it's so hard to sell it to people because you can even tell by recommendation that I'm not like loving it, but it's just such a fun idea to, again, explore. So maybe that one. Should be the one book you would pack for a year on a deserted island. If we're not talking like practical stuff, like how to survive on a desert island, like an actual fiction book, I wouldn't have a choice but to finish it. Plus, if I get an edition where like the two parts are together, that's like a 1,400 pages book. And I would actually read the whole thing. So, that might be my solution. I might need to do that. So that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thumbs up, subscribe. Again, let me know in the comment section if you have any other prompts that you would like me to answer in an upcoming video. I would like to do these once in a while. I feel like they're a fun way to just add some random recommendations on your feed. I will be putting more videos on the screen that I recommend you check out, and I will see you in my upcoming video very soon. Bye. Oh, and by the way, Emily's still there. She's just hidden.